Lincoln. You can reach us if you're in Cleveland County at 704-482-1390. In Gaston County, 704-435-3297. And if you're in Lincoln County, call us at 704-735-8071. And if you can't get to the phone and just want to send us a email, you can reach us at ktcpregame@gmail.com. Terry, so, let's talk about tonight's schedule on KTC Broadcasting.
That's exactly what I'm going to do. Video games tonight. The Gaston County Game of the Week will be East Gaston at South Point. Derek Smith and Daniel Howell will be there to do that game. Another game, Crest goes to RS Central. Andy Foster, Tim Foster, and Rob Rube will be there for that game. And then it'll be on Burns at East Burke, Calvin Hastings and Dan Greer. Shelby at Kings Mountain, Brent Pasco and Jeff Jones. And East Lincoln's at Bandy's. Clint Spencer and Josh Collins will be there. Now on radio tonight, you'll be able to, on WCSL 1590, will be Cherryville at Parkwood. Milton Baker and Danny Aker will be at that game down in Monroe area. And the Lincoln County Game of the Week, WLON 1050, Lincolnton at West Lincoln, David Keever and Rick Mitchum will be there for that game. Great games for tonight. And as I sat back, and tonight you'll start, just like we said a minute ago, the pretenders against the contenders. I'm going to tell you what, in the Southern District 7, if you have a loss out of this game tonight, you're going to be behind the 8 ball, because that might be the only loss that you can have if you're going to come out on top in the Southern District 7 2A conference.
Well, that conference itself has currently 3 4-0 teams and a 3-1 team. So and the 3-1 team, honestly, I think is the favored team to win that conference, East Lincoln. So that's going to be one of those conferences. One slip up, you're right, and you're
you're kind of in behind the 8 ball once you lose, especially if you lose game 1. Because, I mean, as many contenders they are, and don't get me wrong, I think even through this whole season, I think even the champion's going to at least have a loss. I mean, that's just me. That's just how I'm looking at it. But I don't think you can have more than one, because I think your champion's going to come out with only one loss out of this, and that's going to be a tremendous season for whoever comes out on top.
Well, a lot of talent in the Southern District 7 this year with Bunker Hill, Maiden, West Lincoln, and East Lincoln, and still not sold on Bandy's. And, of course, Lincolnton, even though they're 2-2 non-conference, you never know till the conference play starts, and we start, as we said a minute ago, thinning the herd. So
we do, and a lot of people looking at that game, when you're going over that way, you're looking at who they've lost to. Lincoln has lost to 2 teams, which are 9-0, South Point and North Gaston. You know, and that you have to sit back and say, okay, it could have been 4-0, but, you know, they're 2-2. But those 2 games that they was not in, well, the North Gaston game they was in, they could have won that one. But the South Point game was totally out of hand. But then if you go over to West Lincoln, people says, well, look who they've played. You know, and I've heard that all week. Right. Well, they've played nobody. Their wins are coming 2-14, I think, is the teams that they have played.
Combined record?
Yes.
Wow.
So, you know, tonight will be a big night for West Lincoln with the talent they have this year to be able to step up and say, you know what, we're a little bit better than that. And when I think of games like that, I think about a couple weeks ago when we had West Mac playing Independence down there in Charlotte,
right.
And everybody did not give West Mac any kind of a chance, and West Mac defeated Independence.
Yep. And Indy goes down that night. And, folks, tonight we're going to be covering the Crest RS, Burns East Burke, East Gaston South Point, East Lincoln at Bandy's, Lincolnton at West Lincoln, Cherryville Parkwood, and Shelby Kings Mountain. But also later this evening on the Marburger Autos postgame show starring Dennis Davis, Lewis Carpenter, Tom Centofanti, and Terry Reinhardt. You'll be able to get your scores, recaps, interviews, phone calls, and general silliness, but they'll also be getting you scores on Ashbrook and Cuthbertson, another one of those newer schools I'm not real familiar with, Cuthbertson. Lake Norman, Forest View, which now there's one of my top games. You want to say, well, Lake Norman Charter, nowhere near as good as their record. We know Forest View is good. Forest View's missing a few players tonight. This could be...
That game kind of suspicion to me, because when you take away the coach,
and the top rusher in the area,
exactly, and you're running back, and you're one of your best defensive guys, and, you know, does that bring Forest View down to Lake Norman? I I don't know, because Lake Norman, to me, I didn't think they could beat Lincolnton last year in the conference, and they did, and they surprised a lot of people by how they ended up being. But this could be a very interesting game now with Forest View down a few players.
And Lake Norman, with the best defense in the area after 5 games, only giving up 44 points. They have played a suspicious schedule with some private schools, I guess.
They have.
But, again, we're going to find out tonight. Is Lake Norman charter for real? Hunter Huss is over at North Gaston. You can get information on that. Maiden and Bunker Hill. Battle of the Unbeatens over there in the Southern District 7. Drawn and Chase. Community School of Davidson at Walkertown. Highland Tech at South Lake Prep. Is that correct?
South Lake Christian.
Okay.
Sure is.
And here's my favorite name of the night. Let me find it. Rabun Gap Nakuchi at Thomas Jefferson. I just love saying Nakuchi.
Out of Georgia.
Out of Georgia, yeah. Now, that's somebody's doing some traveling.
Yes,
they are at Thomas Jefferson. So those guys must really struggle to find games if they're coming that far to play Thomas Jefferson.
Oh, yes. And then your last one there, West Caldwell at Newton Conover, 2 1-3 teams. Who in the world would have thought Newton Conover this late in 4 games would be 1-3?
After the year they had last year, I believe 9-4, 9-5, had a really good year. This year, starting out 1-3. West Caldwell had the longest streak in North Carolina in losses until last week before.
Well, they had the 3rd longest.
Third longest. And now they broke that finally, so they're back in the win column this year, and Newton Conover. So that could be a competitive game. If I had to just pick it, flip a coin, I'd say Newton Conover is probably going to lay it on them. They're probably ready to start getting the bowl roll.
Yeah, it is. And it's time. I mean, you're 1-3, starting conference now. Newton Conover, a chance to change it.
Absolutely. All the schools getting a chance to reset the tone now as conference play begins. We're going to take a quick break here on the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show. Stick around as we'll be back to break down tonight's schedule.
Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price with names like the Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General Insurance, and Travelers. Drop by their office at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986. The Baubles clearance sale is underway at the Bargain Station Outlet in Shelby. Now for a limited time, you can get baubles for only $5, and bauble insets are just $3. And all baubles are FDA approved. And for that last quick summer getaway, remember the Bargain Station Outlet in Shelby for luggage, bags, and outdoor equipment. The Bargain Station Outlet, located at 4400 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby, right next to Honda Motorcycles. Open Tuesday through Friday, 9:30 to 6, Saturdays, 9 a.m. till 2 p.m.
Hi, this is Woody Durham for Mark Dedman's Carolina Trophies in Shelby. Through the years, I've seen a lot of trophies and plaques, and none appear nicer than those which come from Mark Dedman's Carolina Trophies. Their guarantee is not just a guarantee, but a promise for courteous service, the absolute lowest price, quality products, on-time delivery, and most of all, your satisfaction. Awards for all occasions plus rubber stamps and engraving. That's Mark Dedman's Carolina Trophies in Shelby.
Come to Kibo's this summer for some refreshing ice cream. Kibo's has it packaged or hand-dipped in a cup or cone. There's also delicious Hunt Brothers Pizza and hot wings. Of course, you'll find Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and Sundrop soft drinks, candy, cakes, milk, bread, charcoal, soap, tobacco products, oil, and don't forget to fill that vehicle up with gas. Kibo's, Highway 226 North at Zion Church Road in Shelby.
Packing that lunch for school? Then head to the Ora Supermarket and Broad River Hams for some great back-to-school lunch packing good deals. Broad River Country Ham, $5.99 a pack. Hormel lunch meat, $3.99 a pound. All meat bologna, $3.99 a pound. Boiled ham, $4.99 a pound. And sliced American cheese, $5.99 a pound. And don't forget the Pick 5. Pick 5 bags of frozen food for only $19.99. Ora Supermarket and Broad River Hams, 1026 East Marion Street in Shelby. They're the steak place.
There's never been a better time to switch to Nationwide and save. For auto, home, life, or business insurance, call Heather, Gary, Mark, or Gaylord at the Gaylord Brawley Nationwide Insurance Agency in Shelby. You can trust Nationwide, serving North Carolina customers since 1928 and number one for 20 straight years. The Gaylord Brawley Nationwide Insurance Agency, 1235 Falston Road in Shelby. Call 704-484-2680.
Come see what they've rounded up for this month at the Roundup store in Shelby. 3/4-inch cherry plywood, good on both sides for $59 a sheet. Good on one side, just $49 a sheet. The Roundup store has 1/4-inch hardboard paneling for $18 a sheet. And 3-tab white shingles are $45 a square. And their wood buildings are built to last. Make your dream kitchen a reality at the Roundup store. 1610 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Open 8:30 to 5:30 Monday through Friday, 8:30 till noon on Saturday.
Hello there, and we're back. I'm trying to find something on my phone here and lost track of myself.
I'll tell you, I thought I was going to jump in there and take off real quick.
I heard your chair moving. I
That's
thought,
right.
hey, wait a minute. Hey, welcome back to the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show. We're going to start breaking down tonight's KTC game schedule. And remember, you can see all of these games either on video through ktcbroadcasting.com. We're going to have Kevin Hastings come on in a little bit and give you a breakdown on how to exactly get to the Ustream app, how to find the games that you want to watch.
I want to say one thing too, Kevin. Thanks him for jumping in for you last week. He jumped in here, and I thought it was you over there.
Well,
Y'all both talk so much, I was like, darn, can I even get a voice in here? Hello.
Let me talk.
Yeah.
Well, I think Kevin and you guys did a great job. I was sitting at home under doctor's orders not to leave the house and watched you guys on ktcbroadcasting.com. Really enjoyed the show. Thought you guys did a wonderful job. Thank you, Kevin. Thanks, Steve, for his great job as an engineer. And thank you guys for carrying the load for me. And I'm just tickled to be back to sit here and talk about some high school football.
And give Steve, he makes sure that we are A-OK in here.
And we always are. That's the thing.
I'm scared of him because I'm scared one of these days I'm going to walk outside, and if I don't do it right, my truck's going to be gone or something.
Nah, he wears that Carolina hat. He could never bring himself to crawl into a truck with an NC State sticker on it.
That's the reason I'm scared it might be gone.
Oh, okay. Now, he might have it removed, but I doubt he'd crawl in there. Well, let's talk about tonight's games on the ktcbroadcasting.com. First off, we're going to start with the East Lincoln at Bandy's. Now, Bandy's is 2-2. Started out the season pretty good. East Lincoln, we both know, they're still ranked, I believe, number 2 in the state.
They are.
In the 2A, so we both know that East Lincoln is an extremely good program. Bandy's, I suppose, will feel the wrath of East Lincoln tonight. Is that the way you see it?
That's exactly how I'm looking. You're talking about an East Lincoln team that's won 19 of the last 20 games. They come into this game, and I never hate to say one guy, but every time you speak of East Lincoln, you speak of Chaz Surratt. And Bandy's leads this all-time series, though, 29-18-1. But East Lincoln has won 7 of the last 8 that these two schools have played. And when you speak of East Lincoln, like again, it's Chaz Surratt. He has run 58 times for 507 yards and 10 touchdowns. Now, that's a quarterback that's running. He has 55 out of 88 with 2 interceptions, and he's thrown 9 touchdown passes in this thing, and he's averaging 191 yards a game through the air. So this is a guy that's just absolutely doing everything.
Sophomore? Junior?
Sophomore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say, in your opinion, based on all the players we've kind of talked about, had seen on video this year, Chaz Surratt top 3 in the area?
Oh, definitely.
As a sophomore.
Oh, yes.
As a sophomore.
No doubt. And, I mean, he's already getting scholarships from, different places. And guy's got a great future. But, the worst part about it is Southern District 7's got 2 more years of this guy being around.
I'm facing that guy.
Yes.
You kind of hate that if you're the other coaches.
Man.
And what are you going to do? The kid, one night, he'll throw for 4 touchdowns and run 1. The next week, he'll go against a team. They say, we're going to take the pass away. Well, he just runs for 5.
He just runs. He does.
And he's a one-man show, but those guys are good. They're a good team, and this kid's a beast. I mean, an absolute beast. We've got some good young players in the area. Trey Harbison over at Crest, Tanner Muse at South Point's a junior. These are all kids that are getting some big-time Division I offers already as sophomores and juniors. I saw online recently that Trey Harbison over at Crest, sophomore running back, he's got 4 games under his belt on varsity, and he's already UNC's chasing him. talking to him, making offers, different. I mean, big-time schools. This isn't Lenore Rhines and the smaller ones saying, hey, we think you've got a chance to be a good player. This is big-time football, and Chad Surratt's going to fall right in there. The defensive end at Lincolnton.
Roseboro. He's got tons of offers coming to him.
He's just a junior.
Yeah, Montgomery from, Burns. So, I mean, different guys. I mean,
Charlotte.
So, I mean, it's to me, it's fantastic for us to be in this area.
You've been around doing this long as I have, if not longer. You look pretty old, but
okay.
I remember back in the '90s when our best players around here. You might have one guy in Cleveland County go to a Division I school. You might have one or two in Gaston County because of the number of schools. Now we're seeing multiple players going to Division I schools from each of these counties. So I think either they've just discovered us or our level of football's gotten better.
Oh, it is. And you think about the guys and we think about the NFL. Hey, you think it can't happen? It can happen. Spikes.
Right.
From Crest, look what he's doing now. C.J. Wilson has made it with the Chicago Bears.
So Hunter Huss will be playing against Spikes this weekend.
So think about it. I mean, if you're in this area, you do get looked at. So
yeah, if you're good, they will find you. Now they'll find you a little better, easier at some other schools that some higher profile schools. That's why we see a lot of these kids move around from time to time. But I will say this, you see a kid like Carlos Watkins out of Chase, a little small 2A school, not a lot of success. That kid's a starting defensive player for Clemson right now.
Now I will say this past week he had a wreck. Past Saturday.
Wow.
He sure did. He hydroplaned his car or truck, whichever one he was in, and he killed his best friend.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, and I know that's hard on that young man, but there's a lot of people to get you through this. Prayers are with you.
Absolutely.
But again, he did this up in Asheville. They was on their way to a cookout last Saturday, and this happened.
All right, well, moving on, East Lincoln at Bandy's. We've covered that. We both feel like East Lincoln should be able to handle that game very easily. We move on to probably the biggest lopsided, well, maybe not the biggest, probably the second biggest lopsided game of the night. Burns travels over to East Burke. Burns 5-0. Battle-tested already against undermanned East Burke team. This is one of those name-your-score games, I believe, for Coach Beam.
It is, and here's another team. East Burke comes in, haven't won a league title since way back in 1988. They come into this game. If you lose here, you go to 0-2. This is not an easy task. Burns has won 39 of their last 47 games. Last time these two teams met was 1996, and they met for constantly there year after year from 85 through 96. Burns led that all-time series 7-5. But Burns coming to town, this is not going to be an easy task for them.
7-5 over the years. This is a different Burns team.
Oh, it is.
Those years.
Way back, different team than now.
But I agree with you. I feel like Burns is probably going to try to work out some kinks from the game last week against Kings Mountain, work on some stuff, and get prepared for the following week. Not sure who they got the next week, but I'm sure they'll be working on stuff for down the road. Well, Crest, 3-1, travels over to RS Central. Crest still trying to discover a passing game, but they probably have one of the most prolific running games in the area, along with South Point. But feel like Crest should handle RS pretty easily, but you never know. First time they played in years.
It is. First time since 2004. And Crest leads this all-time series 17-4. Coach Barnes will be game number 300 for him.
Wow.
Tonight in this game. So I figure Crest will have no trouble with RS Central.
Well, Crest, I met with Coach Barnes earlier this week, talked to him some. They've got a couple of kids still nursing on some injuries, a couple of minor disciplinary issues. But I feel like they're going to be pretty much at full strength mostly, and they're going to continue to develop. And they've got to continue to develop their defense. They're scoring points. They're giving up a ton of points. And, you look out there on the field and you see some good talent, young talent, a lot of sophomores and juniors on that defensive side of the ball. But they still tend to give up a lot of yards, a lot of points. But they're winning, 3-1, with their only loss to South Point. So no shame in that one. So.
No, it's not. And, Sam, we've been talking about it. The defenses this year are taking a toll on a lot of people because a lot of good defenses that we have seen in the past are giving up a lot of points, and we're seeing that week after week. And, the new offenses people are running, I don't know how long it's going to take a defense to stop that. I mean, we might see another state championship game like going all the way back when Western Alamance played North Gaston, and it was like 60-some, 30-some, for a championship game.
Well,
and last year we saw one, Northern Guilford playing Charlotte Catholic. It was like 60-some to 28, I don't know whether the defenses in high school, how would I put that, has enough talent for 11 guys to be out there and stop an offensive team that's, in full power.
Traditionally, you've seen a lot of teams in the past, they'll put their best athletes on defense.
They will.
That's the key. Good defenses win championships, although you'll have some go both ways. But their best players are on defense. I think what we're seeing now is your better skilled athletes are being put on the offensive side of the ball. And points galore, plus the spread. Defenses haven't quite caught up with how to handle the spread. They don't have enough athletes on defense to cover the athletes on offense with the spread. But give it a couple of years. The defensive coordinators are going to figure it out, and then eventually we'll move on to something else. Who knows? Maybe the wing T comes back.
You never know.
I mean, South Point, they're over there running that wing bone thing, red bone, and they year after year are successful with it. And it makes you wonder if a team can be that successful with, honestly, not Division I linemen. Why aren't other teams running that? I mean, they run it successfully. We've now got North Gaston running it. Drawn runs it. RS runs the same offense now. Mm-hmm. You're seeing some smaller teams, and I say smaller being less talented, trying to go to that offense to try to balance the playing field.
Well, I know when I speak of South Point, and I've said it before on here, Lineberger to me is one of the best offensive line coaches, man, I've ever seen in my life, and he's probably one of the best in the state. But it can be done. South Point's proven it can be done. A lot of teams have switched with talent and a speed that people have. They get people open in a passing offense.
And South Point, they had some down years a few years back, but right now they're on top of their game, top of the state rankings, up in the top 3 or 4 week after week after week. So they've really got things rolling there.
Oh, yes.
We're going to take a quick break in about 2 minutes. I've just got the 2 fingers put up at him. Glad it was 2 fingers this time. Moving on, let's go over to Cherryville. Hip, hip, hooray, got their first win last week. I was tickled to death for them. As they will travel to play Parkwood. Tell me a little bit about Parkwood.
Don't know much about them. I've talked to Coach Henderson. He's a coach up here at Cherryville. He says they've watched film. He said the Parkwood's awful big up front. And he said they played Weddington last week, and he says, anytime you take a step up into Charlotte playing them teams, he says he's kind of scared of them because when you playing teams like that, your record might not offset to who you really are. And he says it's a scary place for them to go tonight down there to Monroe to play Parkwood.
Yeah, Parkwood's could be one of those programs that even though they have a 2-3 record, they're a lot better than their record because of the caliber of talent they've been playing against.
And when you go to stuff like that, a lot of people will sit back and they'll say, okay, this is Parkwood playing a Cherryville. So you go from playing a 3A, 4A team down to playing a 1A.
Right.
And what a night that might be. But Cherryville, you got a win last week. Hey, you believing in yourself. Yeah. Go down there and show us something different. I never picked you last week to beat East Gaston, but you did.
And the confidence level of these kids at Cherryville has to be sky high right now after the win over East Gaston. And mentioning East Gaston, 0-4 East Gaston travels to 5-0 South Point. And other than the Burns at East Burke game, this East Gaston at South Point, they call it Black Friday. It's going to be a mournful time for the East Gaston Warriors.
All I got to say about that, they call it Black Friday, and it's all on East Gaston's side. South Point leads this series 39-2. So it's always a Black Friday when South Point comes down there. The lights are turned on South Point side.
The lights are turned on?
They sure are.
What does that mean?
They got bright lights.
Oh, okay.
And they turn them off on East Gaston side.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Don't really get that, but that's going to do it for right now. We're going to take a quick break on the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show. Sam Davis, Terry Reinhardt will be back right after this.
Your sports leader is Big O Country, 1390 AM WOHS in Shelby, 1590 AM WCSL, Cherryville, Gastonia, 1050 AM WLON Lincolnton, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com. Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price with names like The Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General Insurance, and Travelers. Drop by their office at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986.
Your number one choice for drain service in Cleveland County is Drain Cleaners of Shelby. From slow to clogged drains, to sewer odors, to moving or installing a drain, or even adding a drain, see Drain Cleaners of Shelby. With state-of-the-art inspection cameras, locating equipment, and high-pressure jetters. From residential to commercial, just call 1-800-440-CLOG for a free estimate. They'll make sure your drains are actually draining. That's Drain Cleaners of Shelby. Yes, Cleveland County, you do have a train dealer. From Kings Mountain to Polkville, from Lawndale to Bellwood, from Falston to Earl, Roland Black Heating and Air will be there for you. They're only a phone call away at 704-865-1375. In minutes, a comfort specialist will be at your door for your heating or cooling needs. Yes, it's hard to stop a train. Again, call Roland Black Heating and Cooling at 704-865-1375. Your hometown train dealer for over 36 years.
The 89th Annual Cleveland County Fair is set for September 26th through October 6th. And when you buy a ticket to this year's Cleveland County Fair, you could win a new car. Call the fair office for details at 704-487-0651. And check out the Grandstand Entertainment, including the Fall Karting Classic, Friday Night Thunder, 2 big demolition derbies, the ARMA Lawnmower Racing, the Front-Wheel Drive Nationals, plus 2 big nights of monster trucks. For a complete listing of Grandstand events, visit ClevelandCountyFair.com. The 89th Annual Cleveland County Fair, September 26th through October 6th. Discount tickets available at Walgreens.
Cleveland County's complete fireplace and outdoor living headquarters is Future Energy Company, 130 West Graham Street in Uptown Shelby. They are the home of the Big Green Egg, America's favorite grill. Plus, you'll find gas logs, gas fireplaces, wood stoves, outdoor kitchens, and gas grills. And their services include dryer vent cleaning, gas line installation, and they are certified chimney sweeps. Visit the website at futureenergyco.com. Future Energy Company, 130 West Graham Street, Uptown Shelby. They have the fire you desire, from outdoor eating to indoor heating.
Blanton Cars is slashing down payments. We offer down payments as low as $500. We are the most experienced buy here, pay here dealer in Cleveland County. We have cars as new as 2010 models that we will finance in-house. We don't look at your past credit. Your job is your credit here. We have payment plans to fit your budget. Stop by today and let us put you in the car you deserve. Blanton Cars has 2 locations to serve you in Shelby. East Dixon Boulevard, across from Super 8 Motel, and West Dixon Boulevard, next to Meineke Mufflers.
And we're back at the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show. Sam Davis along with Terry Reinhardt. Thanks for joining us today. And remember, give us a call. We'd love to hear your point of view, what game you're going to, what you're expecting to see tonight. Is your team going to win or are they not? You can reach us in Cleveland County at 704-482-1390. And Gaston County, call us on the local phone number, 704-435-3297. And in Lincoln County, 704-735-8071. And through the week, give us an email at ktcpregame@gmail.com. Terry, we've got the KTC schedule coming up. We're going to jump back into breaking down tonight's games, Shelby Kings Mountain and Lincolnton West Lincoln. We're looking for a call from the crew from Lincolnton West Lincoln, so as soon as we hear from them, we're going to break in and get their point of view. Tonight on video on ktcbroadcasting.com, the Gaston County Game of the Week. East Gaston travels over to South Point. Derek Smith and Daniel Howe will bring you all the audio and video there. Crest travels over to RS Central with Andy Foster, Tim Foster, and Rob Root bringing you all the action. The other video game, Burns, is over at East Burke with Calvin Hastings and Dan Greer with all that action. The game of the week, one of our games of the week, Shelby at Kings Mountain tonight. Brent Pasco and Jeff Jones. And Brent or Jeff, give us a call. We'd love to hear your guys' point of view on that big game tonight. Last video game of the night, East Lincoln will travel over to Bandy's. Clint Spencer, Josh Collins will bring you all the action. And on radio tonight on WCSL 1590 AM, Cherryville travels to Parkwood down in Union County, I believe you said. Is that right? Monroe?
Down towards Monroe,
okay.
Sure is.
And Milton Baker and Danny Aker will bring you all that action. And the Lincoln County game of the week are also our featured game tonight. WLON 1050 AM. Lincolnton travels to West Lincoln. Big showdown there. Big game for West Lincoln. David Keever and Rick Mitchum will bring you all the action. And don't forget the Marburger Autos postgame show tonight with my dad, Dennis Davis, Louis Carpenter, Tom Centofanti, and Terry Reinhardt. And don't forget also tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, the Saturday morning sports show. Terry Reinhardt and a group of guys just get together and just talk about high school, college, pro, everything. It's an amazing, awesome show. You should check them out.
It is. There's quite a few of us come in. Jonathan Srantz, Jason Barber, Steve Kay, David Keever runs our show, and then I'm in there trying to make sure the guys stay straight.
All right. You do a great job. I've seen that show. Actually, the first time I ever laid out on you was on your Saturday morning show, trying to figure out who this Reinhardt, savant is, this guy that knows so much stuff, that has so many records, and can recall a score from 1977.
Then you probably looked in there and said, darn, that guy's kind of big. I don't know whether we'll have enough room for me and him both on the camera.
Well, I will say this. If you do happen to check out the video feed Saturday morning, 8 o'clock here on ktcbroadcasting.com, it will bring to mind the Green Bay Packers offensive line. So there's some healthy boys in there. Let me just say that. Some healthy boys. So let's jump over into the Shelby at Kings Mountain game. Now, this is a game that coming into last week, I would have thought, well, Shelby's going to light them up, beat them bad, move on. But after Kings Mountain's performance against Burns last week, now I'm just not so sure. Jonathan Bale is really taking a hold of that quarterback position at Kings Mountain. The running back McLean's doing a good job. And really last week, the defense at Kings Mountain stood up and held Burns and, in my opinion, had the game won. On fourth down, if Jonathan Bale can get one more yard with under 3 minutes, they get a first down and probably run the clock out. And again, with fourth down and 10 from Burns' own 30, they just throw a prayer down the middle of the field. And I don't recall who the receiver was, but he caught it.
Yeah,
he was open. Kings Mountain let the kid get behind them, and they had the first down. 2-3 plays later, they scored to go ahead. But Kings Mountain had the opportunity to win that game hands down.
When I looked at that game, I thought, well, Kings Mountain going to Burns, and I was like, it'll be another one of them games, and then I thought, well, if it's close, it should have been at Kings Mountain, but this was at Burns. That impressed me with Kings Mountain. On the road, at one of your arch rivals, and play them that tough. And, we always say, though, when you have conference foes going at each other and their county foes also, you throw out the records because anything can happen. And this will be meeting number 89. As I go all the way back in this series, all the way from 1923. And like I said, now if you look at the records, you say, well, this is not going to be a matchup. Shelby 64 wins, Kings Mountain 16 wins, and 7 ties. That's the thing that really gets me, 7 ties in this matchup.
All right. Hey, we've got a phone call coming in. Hopefully it's our guys from one of the games. Caller, are you on the line?
I am.
Who dat?
David Keever.
Hey,
David Keever here at West Lincoln tonight.
David, thank you so much for calling. We're really interested in this West Lincoln-Lincolnton game. Give us your opinion. You've been covering a lot of Lincoln County games this year. You've seen them first up front, up close and personal, I guess. What's your opinion of tonight's game?
Everybody's wondering what the answer to the magic question is. West Lincoln comes in 4-0, Lincoln 2-2, and all week the question has been, can West Lincoln stay undefeated, move to 5-0? And defeat Lincoln. In the past, guys, when Lincoln's come into this game to face West Lincoln, Lincoln has won those matchups. But I'm not sure that'll be the case tonight. I think West Lincoln has a good enough football team to win. They might need a break here or there. Lincoln has been prone to the turnover bug, and if Lincoln turns the ball over like they have been, I think they could be in for a rough night. I think West Lincoln can win the game. However, on the other hand, if Lincoln can limit their turnovers and not turn the ball over, or maybe limit it to just one turnover, then I think they have a good shot at winning the game. And one of those things, guys, you can never predict is turnovers.
I'm going to tell you something, David, on this game that you're getting ready to do. I've heard the same thing this week. People say, well, it's not a big game for Lincoln. Lincoln has been in championship games before, and but I keep sitting back, and I do know this is a big game for West because there's another opportunity. They have entered this thing 2 other times at 4-0, and Lincoln has defeated them, and then West Lincoln would go on to lose the rest of their games and finish 4-7. But here's another opportunity. They're playing at home. And again, people say, well, is it that much of a big game? Well, you know what? This is conference. This starts your conference. Yeah. If you fall 0-1 in this conference, you're kind of taking a step back. Not saying you can't win it, but it's going to be hard.
Well, with as many good teams as there are in this new conference, it's the first night of the SD7, and you've got all the good matchups tonight. Maiden and Bunker Hill playing, Terry. Both of those teams are 4-0.
Yes.
And then you've got Bandy's playing East Lincoln, 2 traditional powers they're looking up. And Newton Conover, they'll be heavily favored against West Caldwell. But, yeah, this is a big one because you don't want to fall behind in the conference play knowing you've got East Lincoln, Bandy's, Maiden, Newton Conover, all those teams left yet to play. You want to take a big step forward here in conference play tonight. It's good for everybody here in Lincoln and Catawba County to finally get this conference back again. SD7 as it was back in the 70s. Early 80s, I think it was called SD7, finally gets back together. And the Catawba and Lincoln County folks love being in the same conference with each other because not only is it close travel, but it also means bigger gates because all these football teams, all the fans follow these teams so well. But, I don't think either one of the teams want to come away here tonight with a loss. You mentioned the difference, though, Terry, in this. Tonight, West Lincoln gets this game at home. In the past, they've gone to Lincoln when they were 4-0.
They sure
and they
have.
come away with a loss. But tonight, they do get that game here tonight on their home field. It's 6:05 here, I think, by my watch, maybe 6:10. And this place, there's probably already 1,500 people here. I'm expecting myself, 4,000 maybe.
David,
or more. It'll be standing room only when this thing gets started.
David, Sam Davis, when we came into the studio tonight getting ready for the show, there was a question asked of Terry. Said, is it possible they've sold 6,000 tickets? And Terry said, oh, Lord, I can't believe they'd sell 6,000. But now you're telling me 1,500 already with an hour and a half to go.
Yeah, I wouldn't think they've sold that many, but now they did pre-sell them all week at both schools and at some other establishments around town. But I wouldn't think it would be that many. I would be, I'm looking at maybe 4,000 people here tonight.
That's going to be a big crowd.
And 4,000 will put it at standing room only. I mean, there's, I would say the place might seat 2,500, 3,000. Everything after that's going to have to stand or get on some of the hills around here to be able to see. But
standing room only,
it a little bit.
And a boost to the athletic budget because these are the kind of games, the gates that all the schools really need.
David, I'm going to throw something at you. We come in here and people worry about, well, what's the record? Well, they've played each other 39 times. West Lincoln has won 6. All right, in 25 of them games, and we always talk about Lincoln's defense. Lincoln's defense have held them 8 points or less. I don't think that's going to be the case this year.
No, I don't either. I don't either. It really it could turn into a defensive battle. I really don't expect it to. It could turn into a defensive battle, but there's weapons on both teams that can get the job done. Obviously, West Lincoln, Terry, you know them. You're very familiar with them. They think they can run the ball with Miguel Corella at quarterback and Daniel Davila back there in the backfield by his side. These are 2 very capable guys running the football. And then, you've also got Daniel Chesney out there on the wing, also a return guy who's very capable of taking it to the house. And, of course, the Messer kid is another one, Tracy Messer, one you got to watch out for, too. Here's something that people don't realize coming in this game tonight. Usually, Lincoln has way more speed than the Rebels in these matchups. This year, I think the speed's pretty even, and if anything, it may be on West Lincoln's side.
Yeah, I agree with you. And if we got a game like the JVs had last night, y'all guys are in for a treat. Because last night,
20 overtime.
Yes, it was 26-20. West Lincoln won in overtime last night, and one great game for JVs.
Yep. Well, we're hoping. As a broadcaster, that's the kind we dream for. We love the county matchups, and when they're even matchups, it makes it that much better. And if this thing could go down and not be decided till the last 2 minutes of the game, I think it'd be great for all.
Well, we'll find out tonight. West Lincoln, as Terry mentioned earlier, in the past has padded their record a little early in the year, and then they get into conference play and fall to the wayside. We'll find out tonight, is West Lincoln, Davila, and the rest of that crowd for real as they are at home against the Lincolnton Wolves.
Well, David,
Thank you, guys.
All
Appreciate
right.
it. We'll keep you updated all night long.
Absolutely. Thank you, David
Thank you,
Keever,
David.
doing the broadcast tonight over at West Lincoln, along with
Rick Mitchum.
as they'll bring you all the action on WLON, 1050 a.m. It is our Lincoln County game of the week.
You know, it's amazing when you think about that. We think about where people come from. I'm working at West Lincoln. We've got Rick Mitchum, who graduated from West Lincoln. I graduated from Lincoln. David Kiefer graduated from East.
So we've got some. I bet y'all get on each other when you get together.
We're pretty good at
picking.
Not picking wise.
Right.
We state facts. Facts mean everything, y'all. A lot of people question what facts are not, and they say, "Well, that's just stats. That don't mean a thing."
Oh, it
I
does.
said, I want to tell you something. Stats will prove who you are.
Well, I've heard the term stats are for losers, but I'm going to tell you, I'm a big believer that stats will show you trends and tell you things about your football team that you might not want to know or believe, but you can read a lot about stats. Sometimes the stats do go out the window, absolutely.
Yeah.
You do have to take into consideration
Who
strength
you
of
playing.
schedule, the whole
Yes.
thing. But there are times when stats, you start seeing trends, as we mentioned, some of the defensive problems that teams in the area have had. Hey, you're winning 32-25. Those are great. Good people watching games. But somewhere down the line, somebody's going to shut your offense down. You better have some defense or you're going to be done in the playoffs. So that's going to cover the West Lincoln-Lincolnton game, a big game. If you're going to the game, as you heard from David Keever, you better get on out there if you want to see. Because, as he said, 1,500 fans already. The place only seats about 2,500.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, yesterday and this morning, people were already up there putting out blankets for their spot. And it's early. I'm talking about the game's nowhere near starting, but they're getting their spot.
I know they are, and I'm a huge believer that if I show up at the ball field at 6:15 and somebody got a blanket down there and they're nowhere to be seen, I'm going to move that blanket because you can't save a seat in a football stadium. I don't care. If you got reserved seats, then you bought that seat, but you can't just bring a blanket and put it out. I'm not going to honor that.
I tell you what, I'm going to follow you, Sam, and watch you move one, and then we'll see what happens after.
I'll find me a seat. That's why I always get there early. I don't have to fight for a seat. All right. Also tonight, we want to talk about another big game. Well, I think they're big games, but Terry seems to think it might be a little lopsideder than the records predict. 4-0 Maiden travels to 4-0 Bunker Hill. You've told me in the past that Bunker Hill maybe not as strong as their record indicates.
They've started the last 4 years like 4-0.
Okay.
And then they go on a tailspin, and I know out of the last three, they finished like 6-17. You know, here's you another opportunity. Here's another one of them games. Maiden, they've played in big games. Bunker Hill, here's your chance. Can you step up now? Here's another opportunity. And when you got Jake McCree, that is the quarterback from Maiden, this kid is lighting up. We keep talking about Chaz Surratt. Well, Jake McCree, this is another kid that's a quarterback from Maiden that is lighting it up in the Southern District 7.
Well, we both know that South Caldwell is a good program, a good football team. And last week, Jake McCree took that Maiden team, passed for 206 yards and 4 touchdowns in the win over South Caldwell. So this kid's the real deal.
Well, I'm going to speak of a few things. Passing records. Jake McCree is 56 out of 83 for 1,022 yards, 255 yards a game with 17 touchdowns.
255.
Yeah. Chaz Surratt's next. He's behind him. And his total is only 764 yards at 191 yards a game. And, you know, he's only thrown 9 touchdowns. So there's a big difference from number 1 to number 2 when you look at who's playing.
When you can throw the ball successfully and can put some points on the board, you're going to have a chance to win. Defense, you hope you have enough defense.
Yeah, and we had Coach Parker called us last Saturday, and he says one of the things that they were looking at, he says, we're kind of under the 8 ball because you don't hear people talking about Maiden. You know, everybody's like, well, I mean, so it's East Lincoln, it's South Point, it's Shelby, it's Burns, it's everybody else.
Right.
But when they start looking back, Maiden is 4-0, and we do have a phone call.
Hey, we got a caller. Hello there. Caller, can you hear me?
Hey, Sam, how you doing, buddy?
Good. Who's calling?
Chuck Barbie.
Chuck Barber, you're a Burns fan, right?
Yes, I am.
Well, how did your JV team do last night?
Saying they rolled pretty well. It was up 32-0 at half. Ended up winning 48-6. I think it was, not close from the beginning. But I'll tell you, those coaches and kids, they were some of the nicest ones I've seen. Just lacking a lot of talent and a lot of skill positions, but real nice, polite kids and very nice coaches.
Well, very good. You work the chains for the JV games.
Yeah,
Will you
I do
be working the chains on the varsity game also? Will you be doing chains tonight also?
No, I don't. I hadn't quite graduated up to the varsity chain yet. I'm still a JV chain guy.
So you're an intern.
Maybe someday.
Intern Chuck. Well, what's your?
I got a question for you.
I was talking to one of their coaches who last night and said that, before they built 2 extra high schools in Burke County, he said at least we were competitive then.
Right.
Yes.
Burke County's got as many high schools as Cleveland, but this certainly not as competitive other than Freedom on the football field.
And that comes and goes. But I do remember years ago, East Burke and Freedom were both 4A schools, and that was the point of building some new ones to kind of thin the herd and make it a little easier to actually educate them. I would assume, but now they're all up there 2A. Freedom maybe a 3A still. But
I think so. It used to be East Burke and Freedom Friday. That was a real big deal. I used to hear about that growing up. I think the whole county shut down that day. I don't know that that's as big a deal anymore.
Yeah, I believe it is. Terry Reinhardt's got a question for you.
I do,
Sure.
and my question is, as a chain guy, and I know you're on the opposite side of the field, a lot of times, do you ever have to bite your tongue at stuff that you hear is going on?
Absolutely, all the time. It's just unreal how some of the coaches act and talk, and it's not usually the kids; it's usually the adults. Most of them are really first-class good people, but there's a few teams who shall remain nameless that you just kind of have to shake your head and stand there like a statue.
Well, years ago, I was the sports editor for Foothill Spotlight magazine here in Cleveland County, and and we did an article. I had an idea, and for an article, so I had our writers go interview a bunch of different people that hold chains at football games.
No.
And I called it Tales from the Other Side of the Field. And we got some really good stories, many we couldn't use in the magazine. But there's some coaches, butthead comes to term. There's a lot of those out there. And then there's a lot of gentlemen, some really good, classy guys that you'll see. And as you mentioned last night, the East Burke crowd was a very well-behaved, nice group of guys.
Sam, you couldn't ask any better. And I got so tickled at one of their players. It was 48-0, and obviously, our coaches being good sports, they had a lot of the backups in, and they were driving down the field, and they scored with about a couple minutes to go. And one of their little guys, he looked about 12 years old, screamed, "Yeah, baby, that's how we roll!" And they were so excited. That's what it's all about.
It is, and you have to love it for that kid, for the success they had. Although minor, they had some success. They knew they were going in to face Goliath. But little David, he had his moment, so you got to be happy for him.
Oh, inside I was really happy for him. It was a nice moment. Well, Sam, what do you think about Burns and East Burke tonight?
Well, I think it's a toss-up game. The only problem is that East Burke's going to end up way under the pile. Burns should light them up tonight. Is that your feelings too?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, Sam. The boys, we really caught a humongous break on the schedule this week because after that Kings Mountain game.
Right.
It's sort of, now I won't say a breeder. You don't want to take anybody too lightly, but it certainly doesn't have to have the highest level of intensity other than, say, if we were facing a Crest or a Shelby this week. So we caught somewhat of a lucky break. I know Kings Mountain, I think they got a tough one tonight coming off the heels of last week.
Right.
So I'm kind of glad we had East Burke, actually.
Well, did you feel last week that Kings Mountain rose to the occasion or Burns played down to their level?
I tend to think it's the latter, Sam. I really do. One of those deals, I think we were all kind of surprised. Of course, I got stuck in the concession stand, and I didn't come out until there was about 5 minutes left to go, so I didn't get to see a lot of it. But I tell you what, those boys were fired up. And for that quarterback at Kings Mountain, this is only his second year playing football.
Right. Junior
He's
Jonathan
been a baseball
Bell.
guy. Bell. He's a good player.
He's a little short, stocky guy that can run and throw the football.
He can absolutely
He's a player.
run.
He's just an athlete. He was all over it last week, and I wish him luck tonight. Well, Chuck, good night. Good luck tonight. Hope
Sam,
you.
I appreciate it.
I
I'm
guess
glad
you're heading
doing
up to East
well
Burke.
up and at 'em, and
Well,
keep
you.
up the good work. I'll talk to y'all soon.
All right, man.
All
Thanks
right,
for
thanks
calling,
for
and
calling.
enjoy your trip up to the mountains. All right, that's going to do it for this segment of the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show. I am Sam Davis, along with Terry Reinhardt. We will be right back.
Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price with names like the Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General Insurance, and Travelers. Drop by their office at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986. Your sports leader is Big O Country, 1390 AM WHS in Shelby, 1590 AM WCSL, Cherryville, Gastonia, 1050 AM WLON Lincolnton, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
Hey, you. This is your carpet speaking. Hello. Hey, I take a real beating from you and your family every day. The kids track mud all over me. The dog leaves a deposit here and there. The cat leaves fur balls. You spill hot coffee on me. And what about those potato chips and dip from the big game? Get me out of here. Bring somebody new in here.
For new carpet and flooring for your home, see Keys Carpet and Floor Covering, 1162 East Marion Street in Shelby. It'll make life easier on your old carpet.
Norris Merchandise's beautiful furniture with bedroom, living room, and dining room furniture by the famous brands. Norris Merchandise's hardware, everything from nuts and bolts to lawnmower blades. Norris Merchandise's Carhartt clothing, featuring Carhartt workwear, casual wear, and rugged outdoor wear. And Norris Merchandise is an archery shop with a complete line of archery equipment and accessories. That's Norris Merchandise, 2011 South Lafayette Street, Shelby, online at norrismerchandise.com or on Facebook.
Where are you eating breakfast today? Have you tried the Hub Cafe located inside Medical Arts Pharmacy? The Hub opens at 7 a.m. Monday through Friday and 8 a.m. on Saturday, serving an old-fashioned country breakfast at affordable prices. You'll find homemade biscuits, bacon, country sausage, country ham, liver mush, eggs, omelets, all cooked to order on the grill. Call 487-0511 or come on into the Hub Cafe for a delicious country breakfast located inside Medical Arts Pharmacy, 108 Grover Street, Shelby.
The Round Man, Okie Knipe, invites you into Okie's Tire and Service Center for all your tire and auto service needs. Okie gives you the best value in tires, both new and used tires, and they'll mount and balance your tires free. Come into Okie's Service Center for all your service needs, including radiator flush, brakes, tune-ups, oil changes, and state inspections. Serving Cleveland County since 1978. That's right, over 35 years. Okie's Tire and Service Center, 800 West Warren Street in Shelby.
S&M Sports Shop is now your dealer for Under Armour sports apparel in Cleveland County. Come by and see the selection of Under Armour shirts, shorts, shoes, socks, and sunglasses. The team at S&M, Mike, Suzanne, Luke, Shannon, Dale, Ken, Darren, Dennis, and Charlie, is now your team outfitter for all local schools in whatever sport you play. They have leather jackets for all local high schools. Plus, S&M is your headquarters for Oakley Sunglasses. For all your athletic needs, go to S&M Sports Shop, located at 707 South Lafayette Street in Shelby.
That's part of the coaching. And we're back at the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show. Sam Davis, Terry Reinhardt, Mr. Hastings, Mr. Roberts, all in the house.
It is, and now we've got a caller.
And we have a caller, absolutely. Third one of the night. It's a big, big night here at the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show. Steve Roberts, will you send Mr. Jones through, please? Show him to the room. Mr. Jones, good evening.
How you doing?
We are hunky-dory. How are you tonight?
Tell you what, it's pretty exciting already over here. Got a crowd coming in, and got a gigantic mountaineer standing in the right behind between the field house and the goalpost, and I think we're going to have a heck of a game here tonight.
Well, Jeff, Kings Mountain's got to be filling the ropes after the almost upset of Burns last week. Big Kings Mountain crowd. How about the Shelby crowd?
Well, I think that people are expecting, just like we've had for the last 5 years, we've had a really close ball game, and it's the Battle of Buffalo Creek. I mean, the Buffalo Creek, that's a big deal because people in Kings Mountain and Shelby, you don't do anyone cross that very much. And so I think there'll be a good crowd here tonight because we got two really hungry football teams. Not only are they playing for county rivalry, but they're playing for some conference seeding. So it's going to be a big game tonight.
Well, you've got Shelby coming in at 3-2, played a tough schedule, couple of tough losses. South Point and AC Reynolds. Kings Mountain, although 2-3, they've played a little bit of a tough schedule. But that near upset of Burns last week, I'll tell you, this game here, Terry Reinhardt and I were talking earlier that this game here, it's not as cut and dry as we thought it was going to be. It should be a great game.
Well, I agree, and I remember David Allen and I were doing this game last year here at Kings Mountain, and I think both teams had come off like 45 to 42 games the week before, and we said, well, we don't know how it's going to go, but we're sure there's going to be a lot of scoring, and, of course, it was 14-7 Shelby. So I hope that I'm right on the excitement of the game, but I'm not even about to try to talk about how many points are going to be scored.
Well, I saw some film today of the Shelby Chase game, although it ended up 32-20, Shelby's favor. Chase showed some life, but Shelby's offense is exciting to watch.
Well, they really do have some weapons. They've got some receivers that can catch the ball, and then when they do catch it, they can get really exciting things happening with their feet. And then we've got two really good running backs that they're almost like Mr. Inside and Mr. Outside. We've got tough-nosed, hard running, and then I'll tell you what, when number 14 and number 15, either one of those two guys, when they get out in the open, it's Katie bar the door.
Who is number 15?
Well, we're talking Antoine Wright, and he's just an amazing receiver, and number 6, of course, is Raekwon Washington, and those two guys are just, like I say, really exciting.
Well, Coach Jones, I want to say something. In 2009, Shelby won 17-10, and then Kings Mountain jumped back the next year 20-17. And then since Ware has taken over, you've won 24-21 and 14-7. It's the offensive passing offense that you are into now. Is that such a huge difference with this squad that Shelby has this year?
Well, what I like about Shelby's offense is that you think about the passing first, and we've done a really good job with the passing, but the running game has been pretty good. In fact, after the first 3 games, we had actually gained more yardage on the ground than we had passing. But I guess it's just so unusual to see Shelby leading the county and leading the conference as far as passing yardage that obviously that's what everybody's going to notice.
Yeah, they really will coming from Shelby. You've been traditionally a running program, and Lance Ware, Coach Ware has been trying his best the last 3 years to get the passing game, the spread offense going, and it looks like he's finally got the pieces he needs to be effective. Now he just needs to work on the defense a little bit.
Well, I agree, and it's as long as you can. I was talking to Coach Ware the other day, and we were talking about as long as you score. It doesn't matter how quickly you score, but what really hurts you is if you have a 3-and-out, and you give up a long drive, and then you get the ball back, you have a 3-and-out, and then you start giving up another long drive, and that's when your defense can really, start to feel it. And they've had a little bit of difficulty a few times on defense this year, and we've hung right in there with South Point, and then the third and fourth quarter, they really just started to, kind of just grind us down a little bit.
Don't feel bad. They do that to everyone.
Yes, they do.
Well, that's their MO for sure.
AC Reynolds up 17-14 at the half. South Point didn't panic. They said, kids, we're going to go do what we've been doing, and ended up putting, I believe, 50 on AC Reynolds before it's over with. It was a big win for South Point over AC Reynolds, and they just do that to everyone.
I'll tell you what, Coach Jones, how many of these battles have you been associated with?
Well, I've been fortunate. I coached here at Shelby for 23 years, and then I kind of stepped in and helped with the kickers for 3. So I guess that's 26 years of playing them every year, and I know we played them in the playoffs about 5 times. So I guess I actually got to coach in about 30 of these, and they were always big deals. I can tell you that.
Well, the Battle of Buffalo Creek. When the game has an actual name, there's something to it, like in Concord, Kannapolis, the Battle for the Bell.
Oh, yes.
Now, this is the Battle of Buffalo Creek going way back to, I believe, Terry, 1923.
1923.
Maybe took a year off back during World War II, so they couldn't get enough kids together to play or something. I'm not sure, but...
the story I heard was in 1943, either Kings Mountain didn't have enough players or Kings Mountain didn't have a coach, and it had to do with World War II. And I saw somebody on one of the message boards say, well, with patriotism, we should be able to get a pass on that, and we should still be able to claim the longest continuous rivalry.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you, Coach John. Back in them days, as I go back and you look up history of football, there's a lot of teams who did not have a varsity football squad in 1942 or 43 on account of World War II.
Right.
That was going on.
Well, the dads were in the war.
Yes.
The older sons were working on the farms and stuff. So.
Absolutely.
So that was the case. Well, Coach, one quick question for you before we let you go. What is Shelby's concern with Kings Mountain tonight?
Well, Shelby's concern with Kings Mountain is that, I'm just going to tell you, if I was coaching this game, what I'd be really concerned about. Greg Lloyd is going to do something that Shelby hasn't seen. Greg is he's a great football coach, and he will come up with something that you can sit there and you can scheme and you can plan and you can say, okay, here's 78 things that Greg could do, and then he'll come up with the 79th and 80th, and you'll be sitting there saying, why didn't we think about that? So that's one thing they've got to be concerned with is, what will Coach Lloyd come up with, on offense that we haven't seen.
Well, he is one of the better game planners I've ever seen. If he has some talent, he will win, and it sounds like he's beginning to put things together at Kings Mountain now after a few years of some personnel issues and injuries and things like that. But
he does it the right way. I remember, last year or 2 years before, he had some issues with some disciplinary issues, right. And those guys didn't get to play football, and he's to be applauded for that because I'm obviously old school, haven't done it as long as I did, but there's a lot to be said for trying to build some character in these young men, and Coach Lloyd does it the right way.
Well, very, very, very proud of Coach Lloyd, a former Crest guy, come over there, played back in the 90s, coached with us back in the 2003 and 4, I believe, was the offensive coordinator for a couple of Crest State championships. So we know he knows what he's doing. So Shelby better be on the lookout tonight. As you mentioned, they're going to do something you've never seen, and you just got to hope your team can adjust to it.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you, Coach, on your side, and I know as any other coach out here, y'all got a few things up y'all's sleeve too, so you're probably going to do a few things they've never seen also.
Well, that's true, and that's part of the real interesting. One of the things I kind of miss a little bit is just the scheming. When you get out on the weekend, and you start thinking, okay, well, what are they going to do, and what can we do if they do this, and it's quite a chess match, and I don't know. Sometimes I think we take that for granted. We just think that in this day of fantasy football, you just take your players and stick them in positions and let them go. But there's a lot of chess moves back and forth, and that's why a county rivalry is such an interesting game because everybody knows each other so well that you can sort of say, okay, if we do this, they're going to do this, and when they do this, then we're going to do something else. So I hope I didn't tie myself in a knot trying to explain.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much for calling us and giving your insight into that game. The Shelby at Kings Mountain game is one of our featured games of the night, along with the Lincolnton at West Lincoln. We thank you for the call. We'll be looking forward to watching some of that game on video on KTC Broadcasting. So enjoy your game tonight, and hope you have a good evening.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Coach.
And I believe we're going to take a quick break here on Witherspoon Insurance pregame show, and we will be back with the final segment of the night.
Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price with names like the Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General Insurance, and Travelers. Drop by their office at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986.
When accidents happen, it's reassuring to know that quick expert care is nearby. Carolina's Healthcare Urgent Care Shelby is now open and is staffed with experienced physicians, mid-level providers, nurses, and support personnel equipped with on-site laboratory and x-ray services. So keep our new location and contact information close by for immediate access to the region's preferred healthcare and largest physicians network. Carolina's Healthcare Urgent Care. 1010 East Dixon Boulevard, Shelby.
Your sports leader is Big O Country, 1390 AM WOHS in Shelby, 1590 AM WCSL, Cherryville, Gastonia, 1050 AM WLON Lincolnton, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
Shelby Savings Bank.
It's just better here.
With local decisions,
Better.
flexibility, and knowing how to treat people.
It's just better. Better.
It's just better here.
We're here to help our neighbors do better.
It's just better here.
With our best deal mortgage guarantee.
It's just better. Better. Better.
Better here. Great products.
It's just better here.
And 2 convenient locations.
It's just
better here. Now more than ever, Shelby Savings Bank. It's just better here. Member FDIC.
We all hear about how good the barbecue is in Lexington, Greensboro, and in eastern North Carolina. But here in Cleveland County, we all know that the best barbecue is here. At Alston Bridges Barbecue, Kent and Linda Bridges and their family make sure the staple of their restaurant is the best barbecue. Your choice, pork, beef, or chicken, plus delicious sides, such as slaw, beans, fries, and hush puppies. The best since Alston and Mabel opened in 1955. Alston Bridges Barbecue, 620 Grover Street, right here in Shelby.
It's the grand opening of the all-new Gastonia Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. We have doubled our inventory, and during our summer clearance event, the savings have never been better. Plus, every new vehicle comes with tires for life, car washes for life, and loaners for life. Gastonia Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is now open 7 days a week for your convenience, and 24 hours a day online at GastoniaDodge.com. Experience the Gastonia Guarantee today at Gastonia Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Since 1900, the Stamey Funeral Home in Fallston has been serving the families of our area with the finest in funeral service. In 1998, the Tysinger family began to serve the families of the Cherryville community, and today are a proud member of that community, providing services with dignity and respect. Caring for your family like our own, that's their slogan. Come talk with manager Pete Kraft about the services they provide at the Stamey Cherryville Funeral Home, 405 North Dixie Street in Cherryville. Today's high school football broadcast is being brought to you in part by your local Jack in the Box. Visit your nearest Jack in the Box anytime, 24 hours a day. The dining room is open till midnight, Sunday through Thursday, and 24 hours on Friday and Saturday. And of course, the drive-thru is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, it's Jack in the Box, 3618 East Franklin Boulevard in Gastonia, 455 Earl Road in Shelby, and 102 College View Road in Dallas.
Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan. Those are the powerhouse of vehicles you'll find at Marburger in Shelby. Plus quality pre-owned cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. And of course, a service department that is second to no one. So when you're in need of another vehicle, see the friendly staff at Marburger. Marburger, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan. 1310 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Proud supporters of our local school athletic teams.
And we're back at the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show. Sam Davis, Terry Reinhardt, Mr. Hastings, Mr. Roberts, bringing you all the action on tonight's games. 2 quick games we haven't really covered much about. Hunter Huss travels over to North Gaston. Hunter Huss struggling. Talking about a one-man show. Carry-on Moore's, probably accounting for 80% of their yardage. North Gaston 4-0. We'll start finding out if they're for real too.
Yeah, and to me, this will be the game. You got a home game against Hunter Huss. To me, a county rival for them. Can you step up and go to 5-0? Can Hunter Huss bounce back? Is my deal.
Right.
Because right now, to me, they're not playing well.
Yeah. And you also have Ashbrook, 2-2 Ashbrook, traveling to Cuthbertson. Again, another one of those programs I'm not familiar with. They're 2-3 on the year. Ashbrook showed out. Almost beat Burns. Almost beat Crest. Beat Asheville and T.C. Roberson.
Yep.
Back
Could
to
be
back.
4-0.
Could easily be 4-0. So Ashbrook is one of those programs that you better watch out for. They are battle-tested. All right, let's move on to our Witherspoon Insurance Players of the Week. We have begun giving out, based on your county, a Player of the Week. And this week, Gaston County, I came up with a list of possibilities, and the one that really jumped to my top of my list, Grant Henderson, Cherryville. This kid threw for 2 touchdowns and ran for 1 in Cherryville's first one of the year against East Gaston last week. So you had to be tickled to death with him.
Well, I had to be tickled because his dad works over at West Lincoln.
Ah.
So his dad was very proud of that, and, and picking up their first win, for them it's great. For his son, fantastic. Good job.
Grant Henderson, the Gaston County Player of the Week from Cherryville High School. And the honorable mention, and I wanted to mention this kid has just been racking up yards week after week, and he does get overlooked because he plays for South Point, because it's not just him. It's Jaquan Brooks. It's the other kid. There's like 3 of them getting over 100 yards every Friday night. Yes. But Tyler Bray at South Point, this kid has rushed for 273 yards and 4 touchdowns in the win last week against A.C. Reynolds. And he's the little machine, the little train that could, as they were trailing at halftime, Coach Lineberger says, just keep giving it to Tyler. We'll work this out. And by golly, that kid did. 4 touchdowns, 273 yards. So he gets an honorable mention.
Great job.
Cleveland County Players of the Night, there were 2. The one I picked in the end was Jonathan Bale, Kings Mountain. This kid rushed for 127 yards, passed for 139 yards, and a near upset of Burns. Actually led his team to a position of they had the game won if they could have just made one more play. But that kid, put his heart out there and left it all on the field. And this is a kid that we're going to be real excited to watch the next 2 years, the rest of this year and next year.
In that Kings Mountain game, I keep going back. You're talking about 1 first down away, 1 defensive stop away.
Exactly.
What a tough way to lose.
A tough way to lose, yes. But also a character builder. And hopefully we'll find out tonight, did it give some confidence to that Kings Mountain program to know they can play with the big boys? Because Burns is a top 10 rated 3A team in the state. Yes. So that was a good job by Kings Mountain last week in the loss. Our honorable mention for Cleveland County is Trey Harbison over at Crest. Trey rushed for 208 yards, 4 touchdowns, in a 44-34 win over T.C. Roberson. Now, the game was not as close as the score indicates, as Roberson scored a late touchdown in the last minute or so to make it look a little closer. But they needed every yard that Harbison could give them, and Jalen Moore back for Crest last week, rushed for over 100 yards. But Trey Harbison, 208 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns, and Terry, that's another sophomore like Chaz Surratt. This is a kid that we're going to have so much fun. Him, Chaz Surratt, some of these younger guys in the next few years.
I'm going to tell you, there's players out there that you keep mentioning, and when I speak of players, I always thought Blue stayed at North Gaston too long. Now I think he's staying at Carolina too long. I mean, he seems like he's been at Carolina for 10 years. But, some of these guys, and these are kids that we're going to be continuing to talk about, and when we get to where they're a senior, people are going to say, man, he's been there for 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, it feels like it. It's absolutely going to feel like it. Well, stay tuned, because later on in the broadcast, probably about 10 minutes till 7, we're going to have Kevin Hastings come on and give you an update on how to go to Ustream, get the app for your phone. That way you can easily watch the games from your iPhone, Android, at the game, or if you're at home, how to go on the computer to find ktcbroadcasting.com and pick your game, because you've got 5 of them to choose from. Now, our last player of the game, Witherspoon Insurance Player of the Week, I guess I should call it, Lincoln County. And this one I found all on my own, Jake McCree. I think there was only one Lincoln County game last week. Maiden playing South Caldwell.
South Caldwell.
The rest of the league took the night off, and I'm still not sure how I feel about that. To the whole league just shutting down for 1 week. From a fan's perspective, not very good. But here you go. Jake McCree from Maiden threw for 206 yards, 4 touchdowns in a win over a very good South Caldwell team.
The thing that gets me about South Caldwell, and I feel sorry for them, Pollard went down start of the year.
Right.
And then their second leading rusher, he ended up with a leg injury also, so he was not in the game. But, Maiden's doing what they have to do. They're playing these people. A good team they beat in South Caldwell. It's a 4A power up there, and a great win. And like I said, we keep talking about Surratt. Well, McCree is up there with him at the top of the line.
Well, when little 2A Maiden comes up and busts South Caldwell in the mouth and comes away with a win, the rest of the Southern District 7 Athletic 2A Conference better watch out. This team could be the one that sneaks up there. I would say that East Lincoln Maiden game is going to be a doozy down the road.
Oh, yes.
Well, let's move on to the next segment, and what we have is the What's Up With That and Class Act segment. I don't have a Class Act this week. Last week I was kind of incapacitated at home watching some games on video with ktcbroadcasting.com. What is your Class Act?
Well, my Class Act for this week, last week I went with the bands. This week I'm going with all of the people who help at football games. From your people running the concession stands, from your people over there taking tickets, from your people down there, even your chain people,
right?
Everybody, all these people who come to the game. I mean, yes, they get in for nothing, but they've got a job to do, and this does not run right unless every one of these people are there. And people think, well, it's not many. I'm going to tell you what, it's a lot of people. You're talking 50, 60 people or more
to run
helping out.
Yes. Well, you heard Chuck Barbie talking earlier about how last week Burns, Kings Mountain, big county game, he's in the concession stand working, helping the program, doing what he can, just like the ticket takers, the chain people, security.
Yes.
There's a lot of people out there. And you're right, that's a Class Act because it takes everybody to make the kids safe, make the players safe, and put on a good show and do the best you can. And it's just an amazing event. High school football, to
Picking
me,
up the trash
is
and
the
everything.
premier
Yes.
event.
Everything.
The premier event of the year. Well, my What's Up With That, and I want to preclude this comment with a saying that I am not in no way bashing referees. I know that referees, I've been a youth sports coach long enough to know that we do the best we can with the information we have, and referees do the same thing. They miss calls. They make calls that they look at later and say, maybe I got that wrong. But they do the best they can at the time they do it. My question is the ref's physical condition. We've seen some big boys out there over the years, and last week, 2 weeks ago at a game I was at, there was a side judge, I think they call him a judge. This guy was a half a step away from needing a walker getting up and down the field. Now, with the speed of the game today, there is no way that guy could keep up, and I really felt like at any time, we were lucky it wasn't 92 degrees, because honestly, I don't think the guy could have made it all 4 quarters. But if anybody's out there, send me an email at ktcpregame@gmail.com or give us a quick call and tell us, do referees have to take a physical test to referee a high school football game? Because we've seen, like I said, some big boys out there that struggle to get up and down the field. But this guy, honestly, he could barely move. He looked like the Tim Conway from the Carol Burnett show back in the 70s, barely half-stepping his way down the field. And again, I'm not bashing referees. I'm just saying my question to the accumulated fans out there, surely Dusty Haynes or somebody, there's a ref out there somewhere, that old ref, retired ref, that could give us a call.
And, I think the biggest thing you're saying, as he's running down the sideline, did he identify where the spot was at?
Right.
Because you're talking half a yard to a yard.
Can be huge.
Yes, especially if it's right there at the first down.
Well, that's my question. That's my What's Up With That question here on the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show. And Terry, you've got some streaks for us, or?
Yes, I do. And all-time leading streak in North Carolina. Northern Guilford defeated Reedsville last week in overtime. Reedsville goes for 2 and does not get it. So Northern Guilford's streak continues. It's 33 games now, and I still don't understand why me and Kevin went over this last week. How come they rank number 3 in the poll?
Well, I have an absolute opinion on that.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. When you're 69-6 all time as a varsity football squad, it means a lot
last
to
year
me.
has no bearing on what you're doing this year.
It does not. But until somebody stops your streak,
I agree.
I mean, you're undefeated, and I'm going to tell you what happened this week. They play Western Alamance, and Western Alamance comes in 5-0. But the running back for Western Alamance has something he wants to say. His name's Donovan Apple. For Western Alamance, quoted saying, "The Dirty Purple is coming to play us."
The what?
From Northern Guilford.
The what?
The Dirty Purple.
The Dirty Purple. Well, that's
so. You know what? If you want stuff that you can say, okay, here's your locker room stamps. I'll put that up there for you. You know, and these are things you should not say.
Well, next week on the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show, we're going to have a long conversation about polls and who should be number one. Should Northern Guilford be number one until they're beaten? Should Indy have stayed number one all those years? Although they earned it 7 years, I believe it was.
Oh, yes.
They were undefeated. They did earn that. They proved that they were the number one team. But my stance is that this year's a new year, new kids, new quarterback, new players, new coach at Northern Guilford.
Oh, it is.
So you got to earn that top seed this year, and they'll have their opportunity come playoff time. We're going to take a real quick break, and I'm just going to do it for me today. I'll see you guys next week because I'm hitting the road up to Rutherford County. Terry Reinhardt, thanks a lot. Kevin Hastings will be back with you in just a few minutes to give you an update on the Ustream and how to access the KTC broadcasting. Terry, you'll be back with the What's Up Shopper Power Poll and tonight's lineup for the KTCBroadcasting.com. I am Sam Davis. Go to a game. Enjoy tonight. If you can't make it, KTCBroadcasting.com. We gone.
Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price with names like the Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General Insurance, and Travelers. Drop by their office at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986. Where are you headed after the big game? To Newt's on the Court Square in Uptown Shelby. Newt's will be open till midnight after the high school football games this season. Come out and celebrate on Friday nights at Newt's. They feature a $5 burger every day. And on Wednesday, all burgers, sandwiches, and wraps are just $5. Newt's features all Angus beef or build your own salad. For after the game or just about any time, it's Newt's on the Court Square in Uptown Shelby. Open 7 days a week until midnight on football Friday nights. Like us on Facebook for our daily specials. Time for a new air conditioner. Want more home comfort from your air conditioner? Train and Forest City Heating and Air can help. Together, Train and Forest City Heating and Air provide the most reliable air conditioning systems in the world, bringing you quality, comfort, and guaranteed satisfaction. Train and Forest City Heating and Air are offering special year-round Train Comfort Specialist financing deals to make your purchase so easy and your family so comfortable. Call Forest City Heating and Air, your local Train Comfort Specialist dealer, serving Cleveland and Rutherford counties for over 30 years for all of your home comfort needs. Call 828-245-1379. And remember, it's hard to stop a train. See your participating independent Train dealer or visit train.com for complete program eligibility, dates, details, and restrictions. Forest City Heating and Air, your local Train Comfort Specialist dealer. Again, call 828-245-1379. Hospice of Cleveland County announces the opening of their hospice resale store. The store is now open and features approximately 5,000 square feet of retail space. The store is managed by Angela Ballard-Jones and is located at 323 East Marion Street, right beside of Dollar General. Donations are currently being accepted. For more information, call Hospice of Cleveland County, 704-487-4677. The new hospice retail store, now open at 323 East Marion Street in Shelby, right beside Dollar General.
A child's life is so precious, yet all around us, children's lives are being destroyed by drugs. Take an active role in your child's life. Teach them that a healthy, drug-free lifestyle is their best choice. A word from Hooker Bonding of Shelby, our area's quality professionals, a name you can trust and depend on. Hooker Bonding is working today for a brighter tomorrow for our children.
Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price with names like the Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General Insurance, and Travelers. Drop by their office at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986.
I'm on the radio.
Yes, and we are back with the Witherspoon Insurance.
Go ahead, Terry.
That's right, Insurance pregame show. A few other things we want to go over before Kevin takes over here. The What's Up Shopper Power Poll in the What's Up Shopper. South Point comes in at number 1, followed by Burns at number 2, North Gaston number 3, West Lincoln comes in at number 4, Forest View, East Lincoln, Crest Chargers, Shelby Golden Lions, Ashbrook Green Wave, and the Lincolnton Wolves come in at number 10 in the What's Up Shopper Power Poll.
All right, Terry, you guys done a great show tonight. Getting ready for some football action on Big O Country and KTC broadcast tonight, folks. We got 7 games for you guys to listen and watch online and on the radio. Radio on the games tonight, Cherryville at Parkwood. You can listen on WCSL 1590 AM and WCSL 1590am.com. You can also listen to Lincolnton at West Lincoln, the big game in Lincoln County tonight, on WLON 1050 AM, WLON 1050am.com. You can listen on 1050 AM and WLON 1050am.com. Now, with all these games also that I'm about to talk about next with the video and the audio, Terry, you can watch and listen on your smartphones. If you have an iPhone or an Android device, you can watch. All you got to do, folks, is download the free Ustream app. It's the letter U and then stream, not Y-O-U. It's U. Ustream. It's a blue and white logo, easy to find. Once you download that app, Terry, all you have to do is search the game you're looking for, and it should pop up. You should see a big red button that says live, and you can watch there. So you can watch with Ustream on your apps, folks. Ustream. So whether you're at the park, riding down the road, going to the game, coming from the game, want to check out another game in the area on our KTC Broadcasting Sister of Networks, all of our games are on the internet and Ustream. So you can watch 5 other games in the area tonight. Big football action around here. East Gaston Warriors at South Point Red Raiders. You can also watch the Crest Chargers at RS Central Hilltoppers. The Shelby Golden Lions at Kings Mountain Mountaineers. And the East Lincoln Mustangs at the Bandy Trojans. And as always, the Burns Bulldogs on KTCBroadcasting.com. Visit the East Burke Cavaliers. But that's going to do it for the show tonight, Terry. Folks, if you guys got any questions how to get on, feel free to call the station, 704-435-2844, and we'll talk you through how to watch the games online. Hopefully you guys can't make it out to the games tonight. You'll join us on KTC Broadcasting. For Terry Reinhardt and Steve Roberts and Sam Davis, we're going to go to the ballparks right now, going out to Brent Pasco and Jeff Jones on WOHS 1390 AM, David Keever, Rick Mitchum on WLON 1050, and Milton Baker and Danny Aker for Cherryville and Parkwood on WCSL.
Enjoy your night.
Thank you, guys.